Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Friday night after the bell. My name is, every Saturday after the bell. We're a little rusty because we took a week off. My name is Jonathan Dell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
It's been a while since we've done this. It's good to see you again and good to be back doing SmackDown. And so without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from SmackDown for February 7th, 2025?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead is we have a tag match with Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso pick up the win here in this tag team match main event. Pretty solid main event. Always good when we get a wrestling match in the main event, which we've seen consistently now. We also, at the end of this, see Solo Sikoa attack Cody Rhodes and make his return. So a lot to unpack here between this match, how the show started out. What you think of this one, Dom?
I like the misdirection all show. They were teasing that, can Cody trust Jey since Jey just won the Royal Rumble? And, therefore, Jey could choose to face Cody at WrestleMania. So, people backstage are putting that into Cody's mind. And that was such a great distraction because by the end of this, Cody and Jey wind up working beautifully as a tag team. They get the win when Jey pulls Jacob Fatu to the floor to stop what was looking like a rope run spear attempt on Cody, who was being held by Tama Tonga. Jey then super kicks Jacob on the floor, hits the ring, hits a dive on Jacob. That takes him out. And then meanwhile, back in the ring, Cody turns the tables on Tama Tonga, hits Crossroads 1, 2, 3. And then, as you said, they did a great job of giving us so much other stuff to think about that when Solo Sikoa shows up dressed all in black, including the black hoodie, ambushes Cody Rhodes and hits the Samoan spike as the show goes off the air. It was a good surprise. I missed Solo Sikoa. I know that him being out has allowed Jacob Fatu to elevate a little bit, especially on the mic. But now that we've done that and seen that from Jacob Fatu, I'm glad to have Solo Sikoa back. What say you?
Yeah. I thought this was a good matchup. And there was some stuff I really liked here. Fatu is just way ahead of schedule, coming from MLW to what he is now. Skipped NXT right to the main roster, and for good reason. He's really been on fire. He is selling to the crowd really well throughout the whole match. And I love the gold teeth. He's got the look with the face. Like you can't teach some of his stuff, like the way that his face looks, but then like the way he does other stuff with the zany hair. He's got the gold teeth now, and now he just looks like a monster. And I can't say enough about him.
I can't say enough about the Fixer. Good morning to you too, sir.
Fixer, our man. Welcome. We got a couple comments from you over, and we appreciate those for sure when we send out the shorts. And we're not going to bury the lead, but your girl is back, and you called it, Alexa Bliss. So anyways, we're talking about here Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso versus Fatu and Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga is coming along.
Okay.
And I was very underwhelmed with him when he first came into the main roster, especially when he was with Loa Tonga or
Tonga Loa.
Tonga Loa. Yeah, well, it does not hurt also that the other guy has almost the same exact name. So it's very confusing. I'm a stickler for that. I'm like, I just need to know what their name is. So Tama Tonga, he's looked really good. He's got a much stronger partner in Jacob Fatu. Loa was not much to write home about. Maybe he's just not ready. Maybe he is ready. But I'll be
He
honest.
and Tama Tonga were very similar wrestlers.
They look,
Jacob Fatu's unique.
yeah, you got Jacob Fatu, and I noticed that Tama Tonga kind of started doing this weird thing where he sells to the crowd by like kind of like I don't even know how you would describe it, but he kind of like does some sort of weird scream. This
Yeah,
tribe,
it's a howl. It's
yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So he does that to the crowd, and he gets a big pop.
The
And
crowd did it back to him at one point.
yeah, and it was like one of these things where I hadn't been seen him do it yet, and maybe he's so used to the Japanese crowd where they kind of respect the actual work that's going in. Like in the ring, they're really quiet. They only kind of really pop when there's really good transitions and they take a break, or if there's like the false finishes, they go crazy for that. And
the golf clap.
yeah, and it's a quieter vibe, and quite frankly, at times it's a little bit more preferred. Like they could just sit there and watch it rather than going crazy the whole time. The US crowd, you need to feed these idiots. You need to kind of like give them something to cheer about so you can have that interaction between the two of them. So maybe because he's kind of adjusting to the American style rather than the Japanese style, he's starting to think, oh, I got to start selling to the crowd. Everyone was doing it tonight in this tag team matchup.
Yep. Good match overall. I like some of the sequences. Jacob blocked an early Cody cutter and just kind of threw him down, hit a kick to the face and a standing senton to go to the first commercial, which is the only commercial of the match. Cody ducked Tama's charge in the corner, which that was in the unfriendly corner there. So Tama winds up hitting Jacob Fatu. Cody hits a rather early hot tag to Jay. So I was like, when that happened, I thought, are they doing a little too early here, the hot tag for the baby faces? This is was this supposed to be an 8-minute match? Wound up going, clearly over 10 with the commercial break. But then other things later, Cody hitting the snap power slam on Jacob Fatu. Nice to see Cody hitting moves on much larger wrestlers. So that was really good to see. Hit a disaster kick, a top turn, Cody cutter. And then this was a really nice wrinkle. Jacob Fatu kicks out at 1 after all of that.
Yeah.
Like, what a good wrinkle that is. Like, oh, yeah, you hit me with your whole arsenal almost. I'm kicking out at 1. So I think that bodes well for Jacob Fatu there. Any spots that you wanted to get to from this match? Because towards the end of it, Solo Sikoa kind of steals the show.
Dom, you're having some audio technical difficulties. There's like a hissing from your mic.
Am I getting hissing from the mic?
Now you're not. You're good. Perfect.
Now I'm good. Okay, very good.
Nothing really stuck out too much. You kind of called out the spots that I liked. I do like that kick out at 1, especially because he's such a monster. And Fixer here is talking too. The Jacob Fatu has been on fire recently. So
yep. And they're protecting him. He did not take the pinfall tonight.
When I saw the matchup and I saw it was Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, I'm like, Tama Tonga's getting pinned. Nobody else can really get pinned, right? Who else? Cody Rhodes is the champ.
Yep.
Jey Uso is going to challenge someone, and he needs to be kind of legitimized, right? Because
he can't lose his first match after the Royal Rumble.
Yes, and he didn't have such a hot streak going into it. He had like a hot potato intercontinental title run, so he's not looking so strong these days. Now that he won the Royal Rumble, I mean, he's got the momentum, and I'm excited to see what they can do with it. But
the only thing more obvious would have been if Jacob Fatu's tag team partner was Carmelo Hayes.
Right. Yes. If Jacob,
although we did see him later, that's a little teaser. We do see him later. He's working hard.
Yes.
He may be the guy who wrestles more often than anybody else on SmackDown. But
he really is a staple. He's getting a lot of TV time and a lot of matches they let him go. They give him a lot of minutes.
Yep.
So
anything else from here? What do you think about Solo Sikoa being back?
Cool. I'm glad he's back, but he attacks Cody. So what does that set up?
That it means that they're not done with that. I'm really disappointed that they had him lose to Roman Reigns on the first Raw because it just made no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, totally now Solo's supposed to come back stronger than ever, but I don't know.
He's been taking a lot of losses
He
this
has.
year. And it's weird because he was never getting any losses for a while there, and he
No.
had the huge win streak. And
Yep.
then he's just like Cody's beating him up. Like Cody's just beaten him several times in a
Yeah.
row. Cody's got some rivalries going on where he just wins 3 straight. Just
Right.
like
Right.
they do like best of it's like one of these things where it's a best of 4 or best of 7 or best of 5 rather, and he just wins 3 straight, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
This is
he's
not Mello Andrade going the full 7.
no, So yeah, maybe we can move on to the follow here. We're about 10 minutes
Sure.
in. I know
What do
we're
you like? We've thrown out a couple of teasers already from other stuff in the show. Where do you want to go next?
in honor of the fixer, maybe we can hop directly because he sent a message over
Mhm.
about Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, she was back in the Royal Rumble women's match. She did get eliminated, but tonight she has an Elimination Chamber qualifier. Match goes a little more than 10 minutes, including a commercial break. Alexa Bliss beats Candice LeRae. She hits a Sister Abigail. So a throwback to Bray Wyatt, the Uncle Howdy days, the Fiend. So she's still trying to keep alive some of that old gimmick. We hadn't seen her wrestle a singles match since the Royal Rumble 2023 when she lost to Bianca Belair. We remember that. That was one of our early premium live events that we recapped.
Yeah.
I think that was the second one we did. We did Survivor Series, and then we did Royal Rumble 2023 that January. So, hey, go to Don't Bury the Lead on YouTube. Find that in our archives and go looking up our recap of Royal Rumble 2023. That was a great show in our archive to go looking up. But what do you think about Candice Alexa here?
Well, there was a couple things I liked. They flashed Howdy, like they did some black and white stuff during the match.
Okay.
And then I was like, I hit rewind and, checked it out. And I was like, oh, okay, they are doing some Uncle Howdy weird stuff with Alexa Bliss.
The Wyatt Six are coming to SmackDown.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about the fixer calls out the finisher.
Yep, the Sister Abigail finisher did look sharp. What do you think of this matchup? Candice and Alexa, similar sized workers, similar pacing to what they do in the ring. I thought this was a better match than I expected at the beginning just because they seem to work well together. I was not bored with giving them more than 10 minutes here.
2 tiny girls, right?
Very tiny.
Candice is specifically, but Alexis is petite, and
yes.
I do have to say, you can see like she just had a kid. She's gonna have to get back into shape, so she'll have to knock the ring rust off. I thought she looked pretty good.
Okay.
And there's 2 things. Okay, there's one thing that's related to the match, and then one thing I love seeing.
Sure.
So I'll just talk about related to the match is the surfboard stretch. I saw that used as a submission. I love the surfboard stretch. I don't know why it's got a soft spot in my heart. I think it's just an easy submission to do when you're in the ring, and I think there's a lot of different variations of ways to get out of it.
It looks good too, right? It's kind of a full body submission.
Yeah. And back in my heyday, I would always work the Kensington clutch.
Yes.
So the Kensington clutch is basically the camel clutch. It is the camel clutch.
Yes.
But so I could use that also as a variation to kind of like add to like, oh, he's working the head, neck, shoulder area.
Yep.
So I like it from my old wrestling days.
I like it too from both of those references. I like it. An NJCW Bonsall Street Bomber reference. Very good. Great series of small package reversals. The ref was confused, didn't know who to count. So that was fun. Just like showing their quickness and their agility working together. What do you think of Alexa Bliss being back and so soon being thrown into Elimination Chamber? This is quite a return.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she's been working out. They think she's ready and trust her in the Elimination Chamber because she's a veteran. I feel like it's a veteran match, Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
I don't think you could throw a bunch of new guys in there because it's just so much going on, right? Where, you basically have to have all these singles matches, and then there's all these goofy things, spots in the cage. So I feel like it's a spot fest, right? The Elimination Chamber.
And to that point, either one of these two women winning would have been fine. Candice LeRae's been around a long time. She's very good.
Yeah, no, she's been really solid, and we haven't seen anything from her. And I'm glad that she got off the bench. She got out of catering, and they put her in. I think she's been fine. Like, she's been good. Like, she doesn't need a title run or anything like that. But
No, she works well as a heel too. She's very demonstrative in the ring. Like, if she doesn't get a 3 count, the facial expressions, the shoulders, the harumph. I mean, it's the kind of thing that if you're sitting in the arena, you can see.
Yeah.
She's like a stage performer versus a movie actress.
Yes.
You can zoom in on a movie screen. You can't zoom in on a stage performance. So it's up to the stage performers to be over the top in their dress and their antics and their movements. She gets that.
For sure. Dom, your mic is just maybe tap it again.
Tap it again there. Tap, tap, tap. What do we got?
How
about it?
It's still hissing a bit.
Hissing a bit. That may be me. I'm hissing. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Alexa's jacket has friend, as in kind of fiend forever. That was a nice touch. Yeah, we're Wyatt 6 coming to SmackDown. What say you?
It would be interesting because I haven't seen any of what they've been doing, and it sounds like they haven't been way over in Raw because I haven't really seen anything. So maybe a change of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, the one thing I wanted to say about this was I saw a John Cena sign where John Cena looks like Mao from the Chinese communist dictator.
My goodness.
So I saw
it's like a John 3:16 in the old baseball games.
Yeah.
Cena as Mao is the new thing that is in every arena. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I saw that sign, so I wanted to call that out because I was like, oh hell yeah, I love that sign. Okay, so that's Alexa Bliss versus Candice LeRae. I called that one out. Fixer, we called it for you, brother, because we know that you're a big fan of Alexa Bliss. Hey, how about you call the next match?
Match of the night, men's elimination chamber, triple threat qualifier, Drew McIntyre, Jimmy Uso, LA Knight. They teased there was some fallout here from Drew especially, and maybe also Damian Priest getting mad at LA Knight for what happened during the Royal Rumble. Just to fill people in, the timing was totally off. It did not look like LA Knight's fault, but as they were trying to eliminate Jey Uso, which turned into Damian Priest swerving Drew McIntyre and eliminating him over the top rope, they bumped into LA Knight, who was fighting with Logan Paul. And Drew has been crying all freaking week about it. And there were reports that he was fuming backstage at Royal Rumble after getting to the back after the match. So they played into that a little. Each guy got a ton of mic time before this match started. This match goes maybe in the 13, 14-minute range. Can't totally tell because the match starts while we are in commercial. There's also another commercial break during the match. We get close to 9 minutes of TV time out of this match. I thought it was fantastic. Drew wins it. LA Knight goes for a blunt force trauma on Jimmy Uso, but Drew Claymore kicks him from behind, right in the back of the head, and pins LA Knight.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre's going to Elimination Chamber. I thought all three guys worked well. Everybody looked strong. If anything, LA Knight did more selling than anyone else here. I don't think it hurts the rise of his star power. It was good to see Jimmy Uso, Big Jim, the big brother, by a few minutes over Jay, do well. And Drew McIntyre, after saying that he's over here on SmackDown now because Raw is a toxic work environment, it's fun to see him. These are three great guys. What say you about this match? Were you pleased with the finish? What do you think about the action? I called it match of the night, and I'm going to say I'm pleased with the finish as well, even though, obviously, LA Knight's my favorite guy in this bunch, and I think we're going to miss him in Elimination Chamber. He's always great in a match like that. But what say you about Drew winning, and how was this match overall?
This match was awesome. I really was like, this could have been a pay-per-view match
Yeah.
easily,
Yep.
and it would have been good. Uh, Big Jim looked good in there.
Mm.
I like the promo. Uh, Death, taxes, Drew McIntyre crying like a damn baby is the guarantees that
Three guarantees in life, aren't
three
they?
guarantees in life. There's always death, taxes, and whatever. And
Yep.
Drew McIntyre crying like a damn baby. And oh, he said he did lay a little one for all the smart marks. He said, "I forgot to get my stuff in at one point at the very end, LA Knight." So he did say, "Oh, I forgot, get my shit in," and it
Yep. Yep.
looked like that was sort of what LA Knight was doing, getting all his stuff in. I think that Dave Meltzer got a bogus report. He ran with it. And when he got the bogus report, he runs with the stuff, and they're like, "Let's play into like the dirt sheet stuff."
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's a little bit like 4D booking. I've noticed that they leak stuff to Meltzer that's not true, and he just says it all the time. CM Punk will never come back. Your mic's going nuts. Can you try adjusting it? All right, try it again. Yeah. So, anyways, I love the promos. I thought they were great. And then there was a bunch of other good spots during it. I think you mentioned the superplex with Drew doing a double German suplex. That was really good. Um, Claymore. I was at the Claymore finish, and then LA Knight getting pinned. I was surprised LA Knight got pinned because when I saw Big Jim in there, I thought, okay, Big Jim seems to be sometimes the guy that loses here, and they always want LA Knight to look strong, and they want Drew McIntyre to look strong. So I could see Big Jim being the guy that eats it. Good to see Drew win and get a W. I feel like he deserved a push after the CM Punk stuff, and it didn't seem to come. So I hope he wins the Elimination Chamber, and that I could really see him knocking off Cody Rhodes and being cool with it. Dom, your mic is. I can't hear you. Can you try turning the mic off and on, maybe? There you
How
go.
about now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm with you there. You heard it here first on Don't Bury the Lead. Yeah, Drew McIntyre knocking off Cody Rhodes. And at WrestleMania, I think that would be a good completion of Drew McIntyre's story, which has been going on longer than Cody Rhodes was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Drew carried the company through 2020 when they were doing empty arena shows.
That's the thing. He never really got a proper shot because he was in that era when wrestling was terrible. Like you couldn't do anything. You could have had Austin versus The Rock, and it'd been like there's no crowd. There's like it just was lousy.
Yeah, he carried them for a while, but see his story's been going on even longer than that, trying to get a proper title reign.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this is Big Jim, Drew McIntyre going over, and anything else you want to talk about this one?
No, just like you said, a great match, and it could have been pay-per-view premium live event quality. This was great match. I love it.
Fixer.
I don't think anybody got buried, even though LA Knight took the pinfall. I thought it was a great finish to the match.
Let's see, where can we go next here? Where can we go next? Carmelo Hayes versus Tozawa.
Yes.
Am I saying that right? Tozawa.
Yes, Tozawa. Tozawa. Carmelo Hayes had ambushed Tozawa at the entrance ramp during Royal Rumble, which took Tozawa out of the match before he even got in there. So Nick Aldis made a match tonight. You're going to have to face Tozawa, Carmelo Hayes, because you cost him his shot in the Royal Rumble. And they have a decent match. Carmelo Hayes goes over. He finally hits the top turn leg drop that he calls nothing but net. and it's the top turn leg drop to the back of the head for the pinfall. Match goes about 7 or 8 minutes. Fairly entertaining. Tozawa's a lot of fun. He's a ball of energy. But Carmelo Hayes getting a good win here. Like we were saying before, he's all over SmackDown. He wrestles almost every week. Nobody has more matches than Carmelo Hayes since Carmelo Hayes has been up the past year. So he's our stalwart. And even though he's not always in great angles, I mean, I really can't fault Carmelo Hayes. He works hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carmelo Hayes gets the win. Kind of good to see him get a W, and it's kind of, and we'll see, Tozawa, if he's going to be on SmackDown moving forward, maybe he's going to be our Ricochet Memorial winner, taking the loss, having a stronger competition than you would think. Reminds me a little bit of, I think in the 90s, there's a little tiny guy. Oh God, he's got like blonde hair, short.
From ECW, Spike Dudley.
Yes, Spike Dudley. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a very big time Spike Dudley vibe.
Okay.
Where he's very tiny, but you're like, oh, he's actually pretty good in there. But even though he's tiny, and he's kind of a jokey-ish guy,
Mm-hmm.
But
came off the top turnbuckle with a sunset flip power bomb onto Carmelo Hayes for a 2 count.
Yeah.
Did a dive, which I know we don't usually like, but he can work.
Dive to a commercial. I put minus. I usually put minuses or plus. I said minus, dive to commercial. Oh no. What a bad first impression. But
right.
He recovered.
Fun little match though. Tozawa's part of the Chad Gable's old group with Otis and Maxine. The 3 of them. I forget what they're called now, but now that Chad Gable's out of that group, it was Otis and Tozawa and Maxine. So I don't know if they'll be on SmackDown. You got to keep some people on Raw. But for one night, playing off of what happened on the Royal Rumble, this was a fun little match. I don't have much more to say about it. It went 7 or 8 minutes. The right guy won.
Yeah. Only thing I would call out is there's a botch.
Okay, which one?
Carmelo Hayes hit the ref on a kick out, and basically he kicked out and then came down and like with his right hand like whacked the ref in the head. And she was like, and then he's like, oh, sorry. You could see like he kind of reacted like, oh, sorry, but he's the heel. Mm-hmm. So you could just see they had one of those weird, he was not supposed to hit her.
Yes.
This is the second time I've seen one of their refs get very close on the counts.
Yeah.
Like sometimes during the women's match, they're hitting their hair. They're so close. And I'm like,
yes.
Who's training them to get so close? Because it's like, I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it. They got to stay out of the way. Like, don't hit their, especially the women have those extensions in their hair. Like, don't knock their hair out and stuff like that. But anyways, that's Carmelo Hayes and Tozawa. Where do you want to go next?
A few backstage things before we get to the rest of the matches. Lightning round. Charlotte Flair's in the ring. Pretty good promo for the crowd. Do you love me or do you hate me? I live rent-free in your head. I like that she's leaning into possibly being a heel again.
Yes.
That helps Tiffany Straton if she chooses to face Tiffany Straton at WrestleMania, and Tiffany Straton is leaning into the babyface stuff, although they're both kind of leaning tweener at this point. At some point after the 2 of them are in the ring, Nia Jax comes out, interrupts, and says, I have a title shot next week with you, Tiffany. And at that point, Charlotte says, well, I'll let you guys do what you need to do. So good teaser there. Who do you think Charlotte Flair should choose for her WrestleMania match? Tiffany or Rhea?
Charlotte Flair would be more interest. Either one would be good because she had such an excellent match with Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
Almost to a point where I wouldn't want to see it again and ruin the other one because it probably was the match of the year. And then like you can't just keep repeating them. But with Tiffany Stratton, I think that would be cool because Tiffany's really good and Charlotte Flair is excellent. Very good in the ring. So
I'd like to see her face Tiffany Stratton as well.
And there's another thing too with Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
She's way more well suited as a heel than a face. She almost never comes off really well as a face. But she's always been. The crowd doesn't seem to, for whatever reason, the IWC and the crowd doesn't seem to like that she kind of always seems to win. Like she comes right back, she wins the Royal Rumble. She's like been like 14-time champ or a 13-time champ,
Yep.
like
Yep.
some ridiculous number,
Yep.
like the old man, just
Hmm.
always on top, always over. She inherited that from him. Always on top, always over, no matter what the situation is. So I like her as a heel, and Tiffany Stratton is probably should be a face at this point. So she could go either way, but I'd like to see her as a face. People like her,
I agree. I'd like to see Charlotte go full heel and for this to work.
and I like
Another
that.
lightning round backstage interview. Motor City Machine Guns trying not to cry about what happened to them in the latest tag team matchup. Los Garza shows up and they say it's time for new teams to step up. And apparently, we're getting Los Garza Motor City Machine Guns next week on SmackDown. What do you think of that statement? It's time for new teams to step up. And do you think they have enough men's tag team talent on SmackDown now for that to happen?
Um,
I will say yes. I want to
y-
see the new teams get a chance. I think they're past these guys being just obvious jobbers.
yeah, it would be nice to see them get a push, or at least get a direction that they're heading in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you also have a couple other tag teams that are promising, and some that are sitting on the bench, like the Street Profits.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Pretty Deadly, which I think
Yep,
we can talk about them later. But Pretty
we will.
Deadly, we've liked them for a while actually,
Mm-hmm.
and this is Fixer said Tiffany needs to beat Nia Jax before that, but I feel like it's going to happen. Yeah, Tiffany's
Okay.
gonna knock off Nia Jax.
Maybe
I'd be
that's this coming Friday. Very good. We'll keep an eye on that. And one more for the lightning round. Kevin Owens is back to doing interviews in his rental cars, uh, saying that Sami Zayn didn't help him at the Royal Rumble match versus Cody Rhodes. And he's almost crying and he says, "You're a horrible friend." And that's why Kevin Owens package pile drived Sami Zayn on the most recent Monday Night Raw. Um, what do you think of Kevin Owens? It's everybody else's fault. Kevin Owens crying in his rental car.
The rental car stuff is too good.
It is, right?
I don't know what genius thought of it. If it was him, if it was someone creative.
Yeah.
You should just sit in your rental car and have it be kind of like a mediocre car. Like it's not like he's in a Lamborghini or anything
No.
like that. It's like he just has and it's always like, oh, this is my rental car. Like he
Yes.
always mentions that it's his rental car, not like my daily driver or whatever. And I it's always pretty funny and ridiculous, but also that he's like such a curmudgeon's great.
Mhm.
He's doing pretty good work as a heel.
So that's the lightning round of backstage stuff going on. How about the tag team match here? Pretty Deadly comes out and confronts DIY, who's in the ring, talking about, "Hey, we've been helping you guys keep those tag team titles. What about us?" Nick Aldis comes out and says, "You guys haven't earned a tag team shot, but I'm going to give you a chance to do it. We're going to have a match right now. DIY versus Pretty Deadly. If Pretty Deadly wins, they get a tag team title shot." And sure enough, with DIY in their street clothes, Pretty Deadly gets the win.
Yeah,
This is not a long match. It ends with Tommaso Ciampa rolling up Elton Prince, but Kit Wilson super kicks him in the head, allowing Elton to reverse the roll up for the pinfall. What do you think of, again, giving a new team a chance to rise?
Pretty Deadly's been pretty due
Right? I like
for this
that.
summer to push,
Haha.
and they have made a lot out of this goofy gimmick that they've been thrust upon them,
Yes.
and they really believe it and they go for it, and they've been funny characters whenever they need to,
Mhm.
um, and they've been good on the bench and catering, and I'm glad to see them get the push because they can actually wrestle. That was what's so shocking
Yes.
because you see them do all this dumb stuff. There's like, and you see them go out like, oh, they're not going to be any good, and they're good. Um, I liked, there's some spots that were pretty good here. The finish was good.
Mhm.
I like they screamed "Yes, boy" during the match, and "Yes, boy" is just so good.
You'll know their face when the crowd screams it back.
Yes, yes, and there's a springboard double team that Pretty Deadly did that was pretty cool. I keep saying pretty because I'm thinking Pretty Deadly. I'm using that
Mhm.
as a filler word. But yes, I am. I have been more like I like Pretty Deadly. DIY the Motor City Machine Guns, they're okay.
Mhm.
Like they're pretty middle of the road, but I think Pretty Deadly has been a better tag team than those two.
Okay, again, you heard it here first on Don't Bury the Lead. Pretty Deadly might have a higher ceiling than the Motor City Machine Guns or DIY.
Oh,
Um,
I
I
like
don't
this.
think that's an outrageous take.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been, even though they are a comedy gimmick, and you got to be careful with the comedy gimmick because it gets too ridiculous. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they're they're more interesting characters, and then I'd also add that they can wrestle. And we
Yeah.
got this comment from the Fixer that fake
Yes.
tag Ciampa Gargano did was a flash of genius.
They're smart wrestlers. I'm not going to take away from them, and they've leaned into this heel turn. So I don't think they're bad wrestlers. I think they're good guys to have the belt at this point.
Yeah, they've been solid enough where they need to have some sort of solid foundation, but between like who has the tag titles and they need to defend them, and
Yep.
they're frequently defended and highlighted in the show. So
Yeah, I don't think they need to have, like a near historic tag team reign, but at the same time, I'm not waiting for them to drop the belts.
they're not the Usos,
No,
but they're they're good enough.
they're fine. They're fine as champs.
They're fine. That's the best word. They're
Yep.
fine.
They're pretty deadly. Oh wait, that's the other team.
That's the other team.
Bianca Belair punches her ticket to Elimination Chamber in the first match of the night, the Elimination Chamber qualifier. Bianca Belair pins Piper Niven. She does the turnbuckle-aided kiss of death, which is becoming cliche at this point. The bigger wrestler that the other wrestlers can't lift up. They all use the ropes for it. I think Big Show was the first wrestler that this happened to, where he would somehow get himself stuck on the top rope and other wrestlers would do it. I'm going to go way back to WCW, and I think maybe it was Lex Luger getting him in the torture rack.
Oh,
The Giant found himself up on the top rope, sprawled across them in the corner, and that allowed Luger to get him up there.
that's amazing that Bianca Belair would steal a spot from Lex Luger. Like, look at how different style. Where Lex Luger was not a great wrestler ever, really, and they tried to push him as much as possible. And Bianca Belair's, you could argue, is men or women's one of the best workers in the company.
Yeah, and I don't know that she's taking it from Lex Luger. It's just become a cliche spot, like bigger wrestler gets stuck on the top ropes or the turnbuckle somewhere. She's done it to Nia Jax. It's the
Oh,
same move. She's done it to Nia. She's done it to Piper. Bigger wrestler who you can't lift in one shot. Somehow they climb the turnbuckles and then just stall up there and you hit your move. I think it's becoming a little too overused.
whoa, okay.
Like win a match a different way.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'll pay attention to it now, Dom. That's a good call out. If you see it twice and used it with different wrestlers, then you're
Yep.
like, it's like the dive, right? Dive to commercial. Everyone's
Sure.
doing dive to commercial, so you want to see the variation.
Mhm.
I did like the KOD that she hit because Piper Niven, she's so big
Yep.
that it's a wild thing when they hit it, and they milked it pretty well.
Yep.
Their match last year was fantastic. This
Yes.
was on par. I mean, I would say this match was also like solid, pretty good. I don't think it had as much time, and they kind of reran the same match they did because why not? It was already good. Good big man stuff by Piper Niven. I think she's a little bit more athletic than Nia Jax. Just naturally, she gets around a little better than Nia.
Quicker.
Yeah, she's
Little lower center of gravity. She can move. She's almost like a Samoan.
She is like a Samoan. I would compare her to like Jason Kelsey, who was always a very agile offensive lineman. Like when
All
he gets
right.
out on the
Super
edge,
Bowl weekend call out there. Very good.
yeah, Jason Kelsey was so athletic that he'd be like a big fat troll guy, and then suddenly you see him run around, and you're like, whoa, guy can move.
She did a couple of what Wade Barrett called the boss man slam, talking about the big boss man. So Piper Niven, a lot of that good stuff. Did hit her second turnbuckle splash at one point for a 2 count. So yeah, Piper Niven looks good out there. But Bianca Belair gets the win. Bianca's going to Elimination Chamber.
For sure. And yeah, so any other matches that we had?
I think that was the 6 matches, and we did some of the most important non-match stuff as well. I think. Do you have anything to add about the show that we missed?
Um,
Fixer, did we miss anything?
yeah, Fixer, clean us up here. Did we miss anything? A very minor thing I want to mention.
Sure.
Jay Uso, when he came out with his entrance, the crowd popped like crazy, and he was way over.
Yep.
So I think there's been a lot of concerns with people on the internet that are like, "Why'd they give it to Jey Uso? Why'd they give it to Jey Uso?" And then the entrance, I was like, "That's why." He's in the crowd; they're all doing the thing.
The live arena loves him.
He's over. No questions asked. So I got no problem with it.
Very good.
And we were talking about Kevin Owens' rental car earlier, which probably will take us into our next segment here, Dom.
It's drive time. We are renting our own little car. It's drive time. It's the thumb drive where we distill this entire program we watch into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no letter grades, no number grades, no star ratings. You're taking this course, pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 2 stars in the Core State Spectrum. No. We do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 thumbs up. Dom, why'd you give this SmackDown a thumbs up?
Fun show on the heels of a premium live event and one of the bigger premium live events. We got a PLE quality match of the night, a triple threat there. Enough surprises during the night. Solo Sikoa is back. Action-packed show. We were both concerned what's SmackDown going to be like moving to 3 hours. So far, it doesn't look like there's a ton of filler. It looks like they had enough stuff for a 3-hour television program with good action.
Yeah, pretty shocking how good the 3-hour show has been. I mentioned this in the backstage studio, how I thought, I was dead set that like this is going to be terrible. This is going to ruin the show. But they have enough people that can wrestle, and then they're just extending the matches, so we're not getting too much junk in there. We're not getting like 3 talk shows. We're getting we're getting
just 0 talk shows,
longer matches. A lot of the matches you can see with a commercial break, and then we watch after the show so we can fast forward to the commercials. That's also helpful. So thumbs up from my end to all the points that you made. The triple threat was awesome. The tag team match was good enough, and for a main event, we had a wrestling match. Some other people that are highlighted that we don't see a lot that are starting to get their shine, which is like Candice LeRae. We have Alexa Bliss returning. We have Charlotte Flair returning. So pretty good SmackDown. Thumbs up. No questions asked. Really, thumbs up. Pretty good show. So, Dom, that's the thumb drive. And we got another big segment coming up here, and we haven't done one in a while. I'm getting a little nervous for it.
It's unseasonably warm. It's pathologically frugal. It's cheap heat.
Cheap heat. Cheap heat is a segment where we talk about trending topics in the pro wrestling world. And I'll tell you what, Dom, cheap heat is how we've sort of established the YouTube channel, as we are now at 1,000 subscribers. So I know it's a little cheap to give yourself a pop here, but we hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who watches us on Twitch and mostly YouTube. If you're on Twitch right now, go check us out on YouTube. Go subscribe. Go be 1,003 because we're 1,002 now. So go be number 1,003. So let me go ahead, as they have updated the software restream. And
there you go. This is from vidIQ that worked with YouTube. And there's our badge. This is the cheap heatiest thing I could find. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. 1,000 subscribers achieved earlier this week. Thank you to everyone. Subscribing gets you access to all of our cool stuff. It's not just these live stream. It's the great edited video clips that you make, John, plus those hashtag shorts that are under 60 seconds. You can also go back into our archive and watch anything you want from Don't Bury the Lead's more than 2-year archive at this point. The Fixer, thank you on that. Congrats there. Very much appreciated. You were a part of that. Everybody who subscribed via the live streams, thank you all very much. Everybody who subscribed after seeing some of the edited stuff that you put out, John, thank you very much. It was a team effort. If it were just you and I, John, there'd be 2 subscribers.
Yes.
So there's 1,000 other people out there who have built this up. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. And like, we're pretty small YouTube creators, so if you do see small YouTube creators and you hit a subscribe, it means a ton to them. So,
yep.
Thanks for everyone that has kind of gone ahead and our stats have been really good recently. So we'll just kind of keep doing what we do. And Dom, thanks for always being consistent. I think it's a consistency, showing up every Friday, Saturday night. You're out here, you're playing hurt, you're sick as hell, but you're gutting it out here. And there's been times where I'm dealing with my child. So anyways, we have talked about how great we are for too long, I feel like, and
we power through.
We power through. And speaking of power through, what's our first topic here?
Bayley to play in the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game taking place on February 14th. She will play on Team Rice, which is Jerry Rice, against Team Bonds, which is coached by Barry Bonds. Here is the announcement on X from the NBA's X account. And you can see right down here, I'm kind of circling it with the cursor. There's Bayley on Team Rice against quite a lot of other people. So what do you think? Bayley showing off other athletic abilities here. The NBA All-Star Celebrity Game. What say you, John?
The NBA Celebrity All-Star Game is actually pretty good.
All right.
So I am glad Bayley's participating. I believe she played at the high school level or collegiate level. Okay. Maybe it's high school. It feels like she was a good high school baller, so she won't make a fool of herself. I know the Miz does it a lot, and he's like, I don't know. He's just not he's a big, strong guy, but he's not a great player. Where Bayley may, turn some heads. Who knows? But it's always cool that the WWE just they really know how to promote themselves and get involved in every little thing outside of the WWE to make themselves bigger. Mm-hmm. And kind of weird. Maybe I will shoot on this a little bit. Team Bonds and Team Rice. So Barry Bonds and Jerry Rice in the NBA All-Star Game. You feel like it'd be like, I don't know, Allen Iverson. What's he doing right now?
Yeah, they like to bring in, I guess, stars from other major sports, a baseball guy and a football guy for a basketball all-star celebrity game.
Yeah,
the Ruffles all-star celebrity game.
Kai Cenat is on the other side here. He's a big streamer, so I am aware of who he is, but although I've never really seen him.
Okay. I don't know many of these people. I know Bayley. Terrell Owens, football guy. That's about it. Matt Barnes, I think he was an NBA player. Baron Davis is also a former NBA player. So there's at least one former NBA player on each team.
Sometimes they have such crazy ringers like Baron Davis, and he's going to be against a bunch of celebrities.
Yep.
But yeah, this is always a fun one.
Sure. Very good. I like it. Staying on X, Sirius Busted Open Radio. Triple H has been announced that he will enter the WWE Hall of Fame at WrestleMania weekend. And because Triple H is in charge of this stuff and he can't select himself, they had to go behind his back. The Undertaker was talking to Bully Ray on Busted Open Radio about he and Shawn Michaels were able to, let's pause this here, even though we're not doing sound, how they were able to pull the wool over Triple H's eyes at a recent WWE town hall to investors. to announce his WWE Hall of Fame induction. A couple of questions here, John. First, Triple H deserving of it, and secondly, because it would look weird if he gave himself the award. They almost had to do something sinister like this, right?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. They have to do some stuff. I mean, first of all, obviously, of like in that first ballot area, really carried the company in the early 2000s and mid 2000s. He was their big champ for a while. He was part of the Attitude Era, and then even the continuity. I mean, just staying with it as a booker in NXT, and now the big booker in WWE. This might be the right time too, because people are a really big fan of him. There was times there where people were not a big fan of Triple H. I think there was a lot of shoot interviews and a lot of people in the early, I would say the early IWC, like maybe if you're looking 10, 15 years back, if you look at up Jim Cornette, he just has so much stuff destroying HBK, destroying Triple H. So now that people have come around and seem to really like him again, I think it's good timing.
What about Undertaker and Shawn Michaels being the ones to come out and announce this? And apparently they snuck into the area. Undertaker had to come from Texas. Shawn Michaels had to come from Georgia. And they managed to do this without people knowing, except for perhaps Nick Khan. Very few people knew these guys were going to be in town. Undertaker also says Shawn Michaels should be the one to induct Triple H. What do you say about that?
Perfect. It probably would have been Vince McMahon if Vince was around, but Vince ain't around. So
this is better with Vince not around, isn't it?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Triple H have obviously a very special relationship, and Undertaker is just really cool with everyone.
Yep.
So
very good. Speaking of people who are not cool with everyone, CM Punk talking about whether he feels sorry for a WWE top star who keeps getting booed. Dominic Mysterio, I don't know why you'd feel sorry for him. That's his gimmick. He's fantastic at it. But CM Punk, I wonder if it's a shoot or a work or a little bit of both. During this interview here at Good Guy, Bad Guy, the transcription here is CM Punk saying, I'm actually shocked that I don't encourage this, but I'm shocked that people don't throw rotten fruit at him or at least toilet paper because he said shit. That mustache is a choice. That haircut is a choice. His stupidity is a choice. You know what I mean? Like he could read a book. He could learn how to read. He could be a better wrestler. He could learn how to run the ropes. He's terrible. And if it's because of his dad, Rey Mysterio, terrible. CM Punk, he's just trashing everybody. Dominic Mysterio's doing a good job, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Like everything about that kid is rotten to the core. Dom, I think CM Punk has sort of perfected this. Is it a shoot? Is it a work thing where he knows how to have a podcast and be on a podcast and say things because he says stuff all the time that's like crapping all over everyone. So I think this is a work, obviously. I think he probably has some admiration for Dom, but also, CM Punk, he is a crazy person who gets angry at people randomly. So who knows? And that's what is so interesting about it. I mean, if you go after Dom Mysterio, it'd be a little ridiculous as he seems to be very well liked in real life. And
he went after the hardest working retired man in wrestling.
This is true. Shooting on Rey Mysterio.
What could his possible beef be with Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio is terrible?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. The mustache. I like the mustache. The haircut. I love the haircut. He's got sort of a mullet. The stupidity. This is great stuff.
These are all good choices, though.
This is like CM Punk is trying to make himself a babyface by calling out all these heel aspects. But on the other hand, this makes me like Dominic Mysterio more and not like CM Punk.
Yes, what a great character. And, when I saw Logan Paul eliminate CM Punk at Royal Rumble, I was like, this would be a good WrestleMania match. because
Hey.
these two are hated and liked by random people. They're very volatile in real life. So this would be, I mean, maybe it's not such a good idea because you'd like to have one person that's level headed and you have two people that aren't. But I'm gonna say something, and I heard someone say this recently about, and this is just how I feel about CM Punk. But it's very hard for me to sit here and just say the truth though. CM Punk's had a really good run in the WWE,
Yes.
even though I don't like him as a person.
There
Like
you
I
go.
don't like his character, but I do have to sit here and say the guy's had a good run in WWE since he's left AEW and come to WWE. So I'm willing to admit that. Dom, uh, can you turn your mic on and off? Perfect. All right, that's the CM Punk bit here. We got the fixer say, I think CM Punk is sort of doing a work, but hitting some cheap heat, which we love, Fixer. We love cheap heat here. Um, Dom, can you try to turn your mic off and on because I can't hear you? We're not getting anything. Can't hear you if you're trying to talk.
How about now?
We can hear you.
Okay.
There's a bit of a hiss. I'm sorry. I gotta call it out.
Hiss, hiss, hiss.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. This article on CM Punk came to us from comingsoon.net. The Bailey article was from WrestleZone, as is the next one. MJF comments on mentioning Cody Rhodes on AEW Dynamite. He's got a match coming up with Dustin Rhodes, who is Cody Rhodes' brother. And hey, MJF said something about Cody Rhodes, and somebody, a former WWE referee, Jimmy Corderas, did not like it. Let's see if we've got the correct tweet up here. This is MJF answering this former ref saying, "Great job, MJF, of reminding your audience about the man who is on top in the other company." MJF responds, his brother, meaning Dustin Rhodes' brother, my mentor, a guy who helped shape me early on in my career. Your old boss, Vince McMahon, perhaps, brainwashed you into believing we need to treat the fans like morons and pretend other wrestling companies don't exist. You dumb, ignorant, All right, respectfully.
Let's
What say you about his penultimate point? Not about the balding and grifting and whatever. But
Dom, I appreciate you not getting us demonetized by
there
saying
you go.
the rest of that tweet.
Demonetized before we get monetized.
Yes.
Your old boss brainwashed you into believing we need to treat the fans like morons. You watch AEW a lot. Do you mind when he does something like this or when somebody else does something like this? If it's well done like this seems to be a reason for him doing it.
It was a good promo, and it's really great to see Dustin whenever you can on AEW. He's in really great shape for his age, and he doesn't work too much, and it's always a treat when he does. He's so good in the ring, and the legacy of his family, where his brother's at right now, and the fact that he's just hanging in there with AEW rather than kind of just following Cody away and kind of setting his own legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I'm sure. I think it's ridiculous to be like, oh, you shouldn't mention him. It's like there shouldn't be bad blood between AEW and Cody Rhodes because all Cody Rhodes talks about in every podcast and every interview is like how much fun he had there, and maybe he wishes it ended differently, but it was still a good time. Whenever AEW has a Hall of Fame, they will eventually induct him. Like I don't think it's that sort of situation where, he left on such bad terms, and I think it was time for both Cody Rhodes to leave the company and for Cody Rhodes to go to WWE and become their champ. Why not?
Very good. I don't have a problem with this either. WWE seems to mention more companies if they have relationships with them, like TNA every now and then. But I don't think this makes AEW look bad. And MJF has enough credibility as a promo guy where we know it's not a cheap pop on his part.
Yeah, and I don't know who this ref is.
Jimmy Corderas, former WWE ref of 20 plus years, author of a book called The Three Count, NEPW Hall of Fame class, CPW Hall of Fame class. Apparently has a podcast himself, because don't we all?
Right. I can't even side with MJF too much, because I get it. You got to start saying some stuff in front of a microphone. So
Daily Reffin' Rants 1, 2, 3. Okay. There you go. I mean, if this Eric Bischoff said controversy creates cash, if this is your controversy, all right. But I think MJF's right. What say you? MJF is right here.
yes, sir.
All right. Over to PW Chronicle. We mentioned John Cena and Cody Rhodes before. Top WWE merchandise sales among talent during Royal Rumble weekend. Cody Rhodes passed by John Cena for the number 1 spot. And Jey Uso, you talked about him being way over with the live audience. His merchandise went through the roof after his Royal Rumble victory. He climbs all the way into the top 3. Makes it look like a good pick, eh?
Yeah. Well, Cena might have the best merch because it's a Colts logo. So maybe people in Indianapolis were like, yeah, I have to get that. So, and I imagine the merchandise moves more there, not domestically, I should say, within the stadium rather than online. I know they're advertising it like crazy online, but like who's seriously buying T-shirts? Like usually people that are going to the shows, right?
Souvenir.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at the show. I'll buy the shirt. I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know much about merchandise sales. The only time I've ever bought a wrestling shirt is when FTR made a shirt for the North Carolina. We actually had the hurricane relief, and 100% of the proceeds went to the company. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give them money. So that's the only time I've ever bought merch, and it was online. So I'm not a big merch guy.
Let's talk the finish of the Royal Rumble. The last 3 were Jey Uso, John Cena, and Logan Paul. Cena eliminated Logan Paul. Jey Uso eliminated John Cena. Of those final 3, hot take here, I think Jey Uso was the least interesting potential winner of those 3. I would have been more interested in Cena or Logan Paul, but the crowd likes Jey Uso. If this was going to be the big thing with Jey Uso, then I wonder why they had him lose clean to Gunther at the last Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Why not have him lose dirty so that he would have a reason for choosing Gunther now? I don't get this. Of the 3 that were in there, Logan Paul, John Cena, I think would have been better winners than Jey Uso. What say you? Am I being too harsh on Jey Uso?
No, Logan Paul's a better wrestler. I hate to break, and I think the Fixer called this out actually, and I do think he has a good point. And I'm gonna pull up his chat because I think it's pretty relevant.
Okay.
Bear with me. As much as I love Jey Uso, I feel like he needs a more diverse move set. He has like 4 or 5 moves that he has on repeat.
Is that too Cena-esque? Remember, John Cena for years was criticized for being the 5 moves of doom.
Yeah, that's like I would agree. Although I haven't seen a lot of his single stuff. Yeah. So Fixer says both Logan Paul and Cena so Logan Paul and Cena are in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, so far John Cena got a bye. I don't know about Logan Paul yet. Did they announce that? I'd like to see Logan Paul in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because Logan Paul and Cena are part-timers, so maybe they gave it to the full-timer and Jey Uso. I don't know. I'm okay with it. To be honest with you, I think he's over with the crowd. I think the Royal Rumble showed us one thing is they have a lot of over talent in the WWE roster. The
Mhm.
men's Royal Rumble was stacked.
Yes. Yes. Agreed 100%. Sean Ross Sapp at Fightful.com. Kevin Owens, he of the ingenious rental car interviews on his phone, has re-signed with WWE. He's had a good year. If there was any doubt as to, it looks like, Drew McIntyre, there were concerns about his contract expiring and would he renew it? And he was in the midst of a great run. Kevin Owens has been in the midst of a surprisingly really good run here. I'm glad he resigned. Any reservations about this from you?
No, I mean probably gets at least one more big contract. Kevin Owens is pretty pop. I would say there is like a this is probably I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard Cornette say that he's pretty hard stickler when it comes to negotiations,
Okay.
and I'm sure that AEW had some interest. Um, I don't know if it makes sense. AEW's got such a stacked they have so many people on their roster and not enough time to highlight them that
Hmm.
KO would leave WWE now. I think he's doing enough where he could hang around WWE. It would be cool to see him one day do like an AEW New Japan run.
Ah.
Um, but also, maybe his body's not up to it anymore. He's entering his 40s. He's got a lot of wear and tear. He's wrestled a lot of matches, and I think of his body type all the time. Like
Mhm.
he's got to be feeling it at this point.
Yeah, it's got to be tough on the knees. All the extra weight. He likes using the top ropes a lot. That's extra weight, extra
Mm-hmm.
force when you hit the mat. Um, but he's in the midst of a pretty good run here in WWE. It would have been I would have missed him if he suddenly left. I think this is a good run.
No, I'm glad he signed for sure, especially from the WWE because we watch SmackDown all the time.
Yep.
He's always been good.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, that's what I got for you. It's unseasonably warm. It's pathologically frugal. John, what is it?
Dom, it is cheap heat. And that is going to take us to the Italian goodbye.
Mhm.
Typically, we do a very long winded, extended goodbye. But I think tonight we're going to cut it a little short as Dom has gutted it out. Dom, thank you for gutting it out while sick.
There you go.
You're
I've got that tape on my shoulder and my back, just like Cody Rhodes. I'm limping around like Kevin Owens. My hips out of alignment, just all sorts of stuff.
I
This was
love
a
it.
fun show. I'm glad we were able to do it. It's not only a good SmackDown, it's a good post pay-per-view show to recap. I enjoyed this. Anything you think we missed, John?
I think that's it. Hey, Fixer, thanks for joining us. As always, we had a couple other people kind of in and out. But Fixer, it's always great chatting with you. 1,000 subs. Congratulations. I can't say enough about everyone that does subscribe. That's really helpful. Really appreciate it. And at the end of the day, we're very close to the watch hour thing too. So I believe there is a Ric Flair whiskey night in our future. I don't want to jinx it. I'm just saying it will likely happen next week.
We have to find Ric Flair whiskey, though.
It's impossible. I have been stalking the internet. I can't find it anywhere. It might just have to be a little picture of Ric Flair on a whiskey bottle.
On something else. Yes.
Something else. All right. Well, everyone, Dom, thanks so much for joining. As always, we're gonna cut it a little short tonight, and have a great rest of